Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. In this video, we're going to be talking about April's end of month review and we're going to be planning for May as well. So I thought I'd take you guys along the journey as to how I normally set up my planner for the month. First, what I'm going to do is I am going to show you my end of month setup for April and what is going to be moving forward, changing, what's going to be what I added to my planner. So I am going to give you a shot of what my planner looks like. Now the planner that I am using, I do make it myself. I'm going to be putting this on Etsy and I probably will be adding stuff to it as time goes. There's a lot of different variables into how I'm managing my money, how I'm budgeting, and what I'm saving up for. So we're gonna go to my April spread and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So let's get started. So this is what my April spread looks like right now. And total full transparency, my bills are a lot different than yours. You could be making more money. You can be paying for more stuff. You can have more variable expenses and less and so forth. This is just where I'm at. The one thing you could probably take away from this is that my bills are a lot lower than most people's bills. And that's just because I have paid my debt. I've paid off my student loans. I paid off my car before moving out here to where my mom is at. And I had a lot of bills before, but right now my bills are not as much. My variable, on the other hand, is a lot more. And I'm not making as much income either. But with that aside, I'm gonna go over how I track my money. So the one thing that I did note from March was that, I think I wrote it back here, was that the funds that I was getting is not necessarily the funds that I was using for my income, if that makes any sense. The funds that I get is deposited into a savings account, my checking account, and another savings account. Because my paycheck is always different monthly, I'm not allocating as to what I'm actually using in those funds. So this is more of a realistic look as to what I actually am using as funds to pay for my actual variable budgets. But this month is super special because we just got our tax refund, which is this, sorry. Now I did get almost $3,000 back, which is a lot of money. And I'm trying to use that as best that I can. So in this video, we're going to be doing a couple of savings challenges. I'm going to be talking about the $1,400 that we added from our tax refund that we're going to be putting towards our sinking funds. So I actually waited for this video to do the savings challenges with you guys and depositing the rest of my money to my sinking funds. Now, a couple things have changed from probably since the last time you've seen my budget. Now, you guys know that I was keeping track of my expenses in my commonplace journal, which this is actually the third one for the year. I used to put it here, but it was getting overwhelming and I know that I needed to put that separately in my expense tracker. I just didn't want to do it. So now I did. So this last month for April, I just did it per page. So for May, everything is double-sided. And I just need to fill in the expenses for the month, which we'll do in a second. So I created this and I have one for each week of the month and it goes up to 5 weeks. And I have another page to track each week. So it's kind of, I really like this setup. It actually works really, really well and it's pretty fun to work with. So this has been super exciting for me. So each one has a color. And I probably should put the week for like the next session of printing that I do. But I have the colors for each one. So for week 4, I plug it in once the week is done. And then once the week is done here, but I also have a monthly setup where I put in every single week and then I just plug in the colors for that. I actually have that for May. So for May, the same thing. But I ended up printing it double-sided this time to save paper. And then for the end of it, I will have that color that I just need to input. So this is gonna be a lot easier for me to be able to like see if there's any mistakes, any like calculation mistakes when I'm putting it in. So by the time that I'm doing it, when I'm done here, then I can just go back to my monthly setup and just plug in everything here. Because my setup is still a little bit different, I don't have a set income. Every month can be different. It could be less, it could be more. Like this month was almost $2,500 more. I only put $1,400, and the $1,090 was for to pay for my variable expenses, and the $90 for my mom's sewing machine. So that was where that's from. And then the $1,400 was just an amount that I wanted to put aside towards my sinking funds so that I can kind of move along with the savings and put them, like allocate them specifically to a category. So I have my year fund, my car repair, and my 100 envelope challenge that we are going to be putting money towards, and the rest will go towards the emergency fund. So what you do notice, you've never seen my planner before, but what I ended up doing was I did add tabs to it, and these tabs are just labels. I actually have the rest of them here. So these were just labels that I use for my shop to like label my items, and it basically just looks like this. It comes in 10 pieces, and I just cut them like this. These are just extras, so that way whenever I need them I have them. But this is going to be the rest for the end of the year, and then these are going to be the tabs for my expenses. These are going to be for my regular planner. That's a great way to do it. You can even just glue paper to each other, but that gets a little bit messy. And if you're doing it on the go, this is the easiest, way for me to be able to do it. We are going to go to the beginning of my budget planner, so that way you can kind of see the beginning of it. So you have already seen this. This is the year layout for the expenses, and you can see from my year that most of my expenses were in Q1. My expenses were a lot more than it should be, but this helps me plan for the next year at least. So what I did end up doing, which you've seen this page already, and I'm just like highlighting which have already been completed and what has been canceled and what's changed from the year. So from my expenses, like I've said, you've seen that I've already gone through these expenses, and I only have a couple left. So from that couple, I believe it was like 800 and something. It was originally set up as my car fund, which was just for my insurance and my AAA. But what I ended up doing is I added the rest of the expenses that I have for the year, and I changed my car fund into my year fund for 2024. That was one of the things, which will go to this page. This is a new page that I added, but I'll explain that to you in a second. So for my car fund, I added the rest of the amount that I needed to close it off and not need to have any more money put aside for that. So yesterday I added $68, and we're at $626.37. So let me write that, because I didn't finish that. I didn't put that in there yet. So I put in $68. Yep. And then for the car repair, we needed $1,000 as well, and we were at $253.99. So I just added $746 to get that to the $1,000 that we need for the car fund. So let me add that also. $746. And I also did that yesterday. And what I also did was I moved the money that I had from my medical fund, because we no longer have any more surgeries, hopefully, moving forward in the future, or this year at least. So I moved the amount that I had in my medical fund, because we already closed that off back in January, and it's just been sitting there. I don't think I need this in that medical fund anymore. What I ended up doing with it was moving the medical fund into my emergency fund. That's why there's like a blue circle here, and I have a key here, which I'll probably add this moving forward when I'm selling this on my Etsy shop. But this just makes a little bit more sense as to like where that money went. So it was a withdrawal, and I moved it to my emergency fund, so that amount is going to stay here until the time being where I need it. And here my goal is at 5,000, but we're almost at 5,000, I think. So from the 1,400 that we have, we put $68 for the year fund, which puts us at $1,332, And from that, we took out $746 for the car repair, which puts that at $586. So we're working with $586, and we're gonna pick 2 cards from our 100 envelope challenge. And this is my 100 envelope challenge setup. This is gonna be a little bit different from what it normally would look like. If you've seen people do 100 envelope challenges, my life is a little bit more modular and it needs to be portable. So this was like the easiest way for me to carry it around if I am gonna carry it around. But it is just a box that I collaged with some green papers that I thought was cute. I just collaged it with other like neutral papers. And here I have 2 sections. We have this, I decided to just use 2 old decks of playing cards, and what I did was I collaged the inside as well, and I numbered them 1 through 100, which is what the 100 envelope challenge is, where every single number will have its corresponding amount that you need to save in your savings challenge. So if I pick that number, then that's going to be the number that I'm going to be putting into my sinking fund for my 100 envelope challenge. And I believe that I planned to put that amount into the Roth IRA for 2024, maybe 2025. I think it might be for 2025, but we'll see. Because if, you know, depends if I have money to save, that's when I'll be picking from my 100 envelope challenge. So now that that's shuffled, let's go ahead and pick that, because that's what we're going to be needing to put aside. So I thought I'd do this with you guys, and if you guys haven't started yet and you guys want to do this, definitely get started with me. We're going to pull 2 today because we do have 586 that we're working with. So the first one that we are picking is 69. So we are going to put $69, and then let's pick 1 more. It's pretty big. So we got 2 big numbers. We got 69 and 81. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna go to my SoFi account, and I'm going to deposit them right now while you guys are with me. So in my savings account, I actually already got paid for today, which is payday. So we have $813 on the account, but we're only working with the rest of the $586, which is from our tax refund. But what I'll do is so that I can keep track on my SoFi account as well, I'm just gonna transfer it by the number. That way I can kind of track it a little bit easier. Let's do the 69 first. And then, cool. So we added our 69, and then we're gonna add our 81, just so that I can see which numbers have been pulled already. And then once these 2 are pulled, let me just confirm that. Cool. So now we have $150. And moving forward, every time I pick one, at least I'll be able to see what numbers I've already picked. This is the best way for me to be able to track them. And then once I'm done, I just put it on this side, and then every time I want to pick, I just go back here and we can see as it fills up. So this is pretty cool. So 100 envelope challenge is here. It's good to go. So every time I do pull, I'll record it, and you guys can follow along with me if you guys want to. And with that being said, 69 and 81. So we're just gonna put 150. Today is the 3rd. And what we can do is, because I have a savings section for that, let's go ahead and fill that in. I'm gonna pick yellow because I'm gonna pick orange. No, I'll pick green. Okay, so we got 81 and then 69. Sweet. This is an exciting challenge just because we get to play around with some coloring, so that's really fun. Let's just put May here. So May 3, 2024. Sick. All right, cool. So that's an addition that I did include into my budget planner. Let's go ahead and put the rest of the amount. So we got the 586. So 586 minus 150, we have 436 left. We're gonna put the rest of that into the emergency fund. And that was for the rest of that 1400. Well, I guess I don't need to add this here because we're putting that in May. So I'm getting ahead of myself. So the 436, let's go ahead and go back. So we are going to put the rest, which is 436, and that would put us at 47.59, which is pretty close. Now I did get paid for May, so we have 227 left. I want to do the funds later, but I wanted to get the actual number for what I got paid for May. What we can do, since we already got the funds for the 227, that is going to go towards our emergency fund. And that might put us at $5,000. So that's pretty exciting. So let's go ahead and put the rest of this, 34. So 227.34 is what we're adding to our emergency fund, which is what our first payday was. So let's put that there. My budget was supposed to be 250, but that means that I got paid less. So our actual that we added was 227.34. Once I put any money towards my sinking accounts, I go back into my savings tab. This is where I will be adding what I get at the beginning of the month instead of at the end of it. So like here, I was at 3,400 when I first started May, before I added anything to those sinking funds. Here are my closeouts already. So these are already closed out. So what I did was I highlighted the emergency fund, the year fund for 2025, and my 100 envelope challenge. So what we could do is we can just put, since we already added our 100 envelope challenge, I don't think I want to add anything just to it just yet. But I could add this here now. So I put 150 on that. So I'll just put 150 right there. And yeah, so the highlighted ones meant that I already closed them out and I'm just waiting to deduct the money for that in case I need to. And this one for sure. But this, I might not spend any money this year because I already bought tires. So this is just that emergency fund for my car in case I need to. And then my medical fund, I moved that, like I said. So here you've already seen me do this page. So because we added the rest of the amount, that should close us off by the end of May for when our interest comes in. So normally we're getting $12.07, which will roughly get that much, maybe a little bit more because we just added a bunch of money to it. So we should be good on that emergency fund. So that should be complete by the end of this month, maybe once we add more funds to it as well. And you can see for the flow chart, here is where I've completed it. I just, highlight all of the ones that I've already included. Once I complete it, I just deducted. So because we did add or deduct the rest of it, which was at $876.87 to my emergency fund, now it's completely gone. So we are at 0, closed. Now we have our car fund. If I do end up deducting, I'll just add that here. And then our car repairs, we just added everything, so that's already closed out. And then I added these other two, which is the emergency fund to get to $7,500, and the year expenses, which is to get to $2,220. So the year at a glance is just what the amount is at the beginning of the month. This is more of where tracking it is kind of like seeing all of it as like the month and what I'm actually doing per month. So this is a revised version. I did change it from the last one just because I needed more boxes to add more funds into it and like when the interest also comes in. This is our envelope challenge. The 100 envelope challenge is what we're doing. And then I also included a monthly savings tracker. So here you can see where the current amount is and what amount I put per paycheck. This last payday is where we added the remaining of the balance, and this is kind of like in between, but we added the interest, so this is where the total is at. These are just some notes. Every time I have anything that I'm working on or thinking about, I'll just like write about them here. So my future funds, let me just go ahead and tally that up. This is actually supposed to be over here, so let me just do that. So it is a rough estimate of that 1,400. Like I said, you know, I don't follow a zero-based budget just because I don't know what I'm going to be getting paid. So if I need to take money from my sinking funds or any other savings accounts that I have to pay for my variable expenses, it'll be added here. But this is just what I wanted to put towards my sinking funds to close out a couple of those things. So now that April is closed, we can go to May. So for May moving forward, it'll be a lot easier, and I'll put this amount in as it comes. But we should be getting check number 1 today. We should be getting an Etsy check as well. And then we're also getting 3 paychecks this month. So check number 2 and then check number 3. So that should be good for May. I should be getting some funds from, which is roughly like just certain funds that I get from my friends who are in my phone bill. And then for my variable, what I do like to add is from here, I like to keep all of them kind of like the same. So I wanted to, it's a lot easier for me to be able to just track them when everything is the same and filling them out. So I'm just gonna fill all of those in. And this is kind of cool to see where everything has been evolving. If you guys have been following me from the beginning, it seems like I might actually end up having to add more to this page because I feel like I'm getting more categories as time goes. And even though I'm doing like a no spend year, I've been a little bit more particular with the details of where my money's going, so that eventually adds more categories to my expenses, which, you know, I don't necessarily spend that money every single week, but it's nice to be able to see like a category for each one. Like recently I just changed the groceries from the groceries to home, and then I also added the snacks category. So that's also something that is like a staple in the household right now. So the snacks is usually like ice cream. That is usually a staple that we have to have because my boyfriend loves ice cream. So that's, you know, and because he's such a hard worker, it's definitely something worth buying because, you know, we definitely want to have those luxuries in your groceries if you don't eat out a lot. So, and that's another thing that's gonna also change probably, is that we're gonna be eating out a lot more. So this is where my budget was at for this month. You know, the gas is down, the food is, you know, it's gonna stay high just because food in general is just super expensive. The treats, work, I did end up spending a little bit more. I have been lacking in spending money where I need to spend money. And so I'm gonna change that a little bit as time goes. Where I need to spend money, I will be spending it. So if it's an investment into a class, if it is an investment into merchandise or inventory that I need to have to sell my products, I will be doing that. So that is one thing that is going to be a priority. I don't want to not spend money where I know that I have to. So this is a conversation that I was having with my boyfriend, where it's becoming a thing where I'm not spending money on the things that I should be, and that's what could be hurting me. So I started with a class, and that was $800, and I'll talk about that some other time. This is not really relevant at this point. For home, I spent $196. And the cool thing with having the expenses is that I can see as like time goes where I spent that. And these are usually just like cleaning products. I've been, my boyfriend's roommate recently moved out, so I've been cleaning a little bit more and just kind of tidying everything up. So it's nice to have this because I can really like get down to where it is instead of just all being like in one page how I used to track it before. So this is really exciting. It's definitely leveled up my budgeting practice. So now that we've gotten all of those budgets in, my fix, I can just write those down, which we have rent. And my budget now for rent has gone down. I used to pay my mom $500 for my rent, which I actually have to give her money today. What else do we have? But because I'm not living with her at the moment, I'm staying with my boyfriend, I'm not giving her as much, but I'm still contributing to her. So I will be putting this amount, I'll be selling her that money in a second. But we also have our iCloud, because freaking iCloud, we can't avoid it because it's the ecosystem. And then we have our phone bill, which I think is roughly like $140. And then the other one is, which is a $90. So what I will do is I'll just give my mom the amount that I need to do now. So the reason why I didn't put the rest of the tax refund into my savings was because I wanted to save that amount for my bills. I wanted to also focus on trying to get a month ahead moving forward, so that way if the bill comes in earlier than when I get paid, I will already have that amount. So that is basically it for my budget planner catch up. And what's new with my planner, what's going to be added, what I can possibly do is I can do another video of how I'm usually tracking my expenses per week, to see if that helps you track your expenses and how I track mine as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys are doing the envelope challenge with me, that's really exciting. Or if you're doing your own, let me know what you're going to be doing with your 100 envelope challenge funds once you're done with that. I think I'm still debating if I'm going to put my money towards my Roth IRA, or I'm just kind of double downing on my emergency fund. I also need to fund some builds that's going to be happening. We recently have been working at my mom's a little bit more, where we're either cleaning or doing some yard work, and it's been really fun. The weather has been getting so much better, which is really exciting to see. So it's making a lot of things happen that we are not necessarily prepared for. Like my hair, I recently cut my hair. So a lot of things have just been happening, and I'm just kind of going along for the ride. It's a little bit of an adjustment to get used to wearing it down, but it'll eventually grow on me. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.